Before we start, there's 3 things you need to know as far as definitions. First is pitch, how high or low your voice is. Resonance is where your voice resonates within your mouth, throat, or chest. Cadence is the way you put words together, including sentences. More on that later. Before we start, I would like to dispel the myth of Reddit voice training. On Reddit, there's often this idea of the middle or the mixed voice, where you raise your throat or you raise your pitch all the way to falsetto and slowly lower it, trying to bridge the gap between your normal speaking voice and falsetto, trying to speak within the crack between those. This does not work and will give you vocal fry. What they're trying to get you to do with that is they're trying to teach you voice control, which is a thing that you're going to be learning, but the way they teach it to you is absolutely 100% wrong. I'll teach you the proper way to do it, and then you'll be able to understand why those guides are not very good. So starting out, at the bottom of your voice, this is how many people starting out will speak. They have no vocal control. They don't understand on how they're supposed to be speaking. So at the bottom, so when you have your resonance at the bottom in your chest, if you put your hand on your chest, you'll be able to feel the resonance on there. Your pitch is going to also be at the bottom of your throat. Pitch and resonance are tied. Trying to raise pitch often means that you're not changing your resonance and you sound awful. This is what the Reddit guides tell you to do. And what you should be doing is changing your resonance. Resonance is the independent variable, while pitch is the dependent variable. Pitch depends on your resonance. So what you should be doing is changing your resonance from down here to slightly higher in your throat. When it's higher in your throat like this, you haven't changed your pitch, you haven't changed the way you put your words together, but it sounds less masculine. And what you're trying to do is move it all the way to the top of your throat. So right now I'm at the bottom of my throat. You might not hear a difference, but it will feel different in your throat, and that's good. If you can recognize that difference, you're well on your way to understanding how voice training works. And then at the middle of your throat is right here. A lot of gay men speak here, and this is the gay voice without the lisp. What you should be doing is not raising your pitch, but raising your resonance so your pitch follows. This is the middle of your throat. Many people can speak here just fine without having to do the lisp. And then up here is the raising of the larynx. A lot of people are trying to raise the larynx to push the resonance here, but that's not what you're doing. What you should be doing is opening the back of your throat. When you open the back of your throat, what's happening is that you're not pushing your larynx up, it's simply moving into place. And then when you're able to push up here, once you're able to get up here to the top of your throat, you'll find a place where your voice settles. Some people put it all the way at the very top of their mouth, but you don't want to do that. Just find the top of your throat. When you put it at the top of your mouth, it sounds fake. It sounds like a valley girl. You don't want to be sounding like this. This is stereotypically female, but it's not how you want to be sounding. It's not professional. It doesn't sound clear. It doesn't sound very good. So you're going to find a spot where your voice settles here. And a lot of people will talk with their throat pinched. You don't want to sound like this because this is talking with a pinched throat. You can hear how awful it sounds and you don't want that. Or what a lot of people do is they'll move it up into their nose and they'll talk like this because it sounds right in their head, but it sounds awful in real life. You shouldn't be worried about what it sounds like in your head. You should be recording yourself and playing it back. So going back down here, once you're at this spot, you have your proto-girl voice. The gap between down here and up here is a pretty big gap, but you'll learn how to control it once you get there. Remember to keep the back of your throat open. Second is cadence. Women have a very particular way of putting words together, words and sentences together. Men generally don't have a cadence to their voice, and so they're often monotone and flat. Although they may not have a kind of sound to them, it's still very flat. An example, they'll say Australia as Australia, Australia, but that doesn't sound like how a woman would say it. A woman will have sharp, concise vowels. Instead of saying she'll say and she'll add inflection to the way that she puts words together. So Australia becomes Australia, up and down. Australia, Australia. I'm using the camera app to write a guide or to dictate a guide on voice training. And that's a little exaggerated, but that's what you should be learning. When you're able to identify it, you're able to refine it. So starting out, you go from all the way down here to moving it up in the bottom of your throat, to moving it to the middle of your throat, to the top of your throat. Then you open the back of your throat, and your pitch is going to follow. And then you start using it, and you get really good with it. This is your proto girl voice. And then you start reading things off. So just a post here is, LOL, exactly what my dad said. I don't know if he's being completely clueless or malicious. I'm just reading the off 4chan. Money, no roommates, rent prices high. High is LA, but minimum wage is $9, yada, yada, yada. You'll start sounding more normal. Once you have that down, that's fine. Don't fuck up and use a Reddit guide that'll tell you to change your pitch, because oftentimes that's not going to work. Hopefully this helps. Thank you.